Hey, shalom, 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 Israel. You live with the Israelite School of UPK. Preacher Captain Soccer will hold in the class from Memphis. We're gonna get started momentarily. I just wanna play one song before we get started with class tonight. All right. We about to bombard their whole operation. Certified priest, prophesying this my occupation. This shit outrageous. They done made the truth docile. That's why we on the corner crying aloud, looking hostile. It's UPK style. Can't stop now. Father's warfare couldn't last one round. Let the oppressed rise, and let the rich mourn till the sun with these chickens. About to make all the compound. For my niggas, put the guns in the drugs down. Dwelling in peace till the Lord call for the blood hail. Try to decide my death and got beside yourself. Swore drawn for what you perform. How you gon' hide yourself? Devil's got to die for his lies and his visions. Ain't got no love for them crackers. Nah, just cruel intentions. And in my father's house is spinning mansions. I got plenty bitches. Worthy of vengeance. This your death sentence. I'm talking to you. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. That they do not rise and fill the world with lies. Ain't die for your skin. You gon' die for your crime. I'm talking to you. So warn for your life. Your life. Try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Tell them devils that the end is near. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah. Now they shook from vicious words out this handed book. Bound to take these rappers back to school. My flow sanded hook. They crossed the line, ain't no coming back. You became no cowards. The only thing sweet is the honey jet. Righteous is the Lord. Give me rest from my sorrow. And hand down death for them devils. There's no tomorrow. Why? Cause they violence leave a man a stiff corpse. You see a flag in a badge, I see horns in a pitchfork. Go ahead. So please believe it, the white man is a demon. And I ain't gon' vote for them to free me. No. They beat us till we, the color purple, that's why this knife to they throat like ceiling. You got this nigga on his knees. They wanna have peace. We screaming, let this bitch burn at 1,000 degrees. I'm laying in the bosom of revenge. I told her I'd do anything she please as I squeeze on the double D's. Fuck you mean? I'm talking to you. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. That they do not rise and fill the world with lies. Ain't die for your skin. You gon' die for your crime. I'm talking to you. So warn for your life. Your life. Try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Tell them devils that the end is near. Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah.
The police just shot him for no apparent reason. No reason at all. They asked for license and registration. That's the police officer over there that did it. With the black on. I can't really do shit because they got me handcuffed. I can't believe they just did this. I'm fucking
Slaughter. Yeah. Slaughter.
All right. Shalom, Israel. You live with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Priest and Captain Soccer War holding on the class from Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes here in Memphis from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. All you brothers and sisters out there, if you have family, loved ones, people you care about in the Memphis, Tennessee, and surrounding areas, get them in contact with the ISUPK. This Saturday from 1 to 6 p.m., the address is 3000 Walnut Grove Road. Again, 3000 Walnut Grove Road here in Memphis, Tennessee. We are having a winter clothing drive. Winter clothing drive this Saturday, November 2nd, 3000 Walnut Grove Road. You brothers and sisters that's tuning in, if you got family, loved ones, people you care about here in Memphis, man, the cold is right around the corner. The winter's going to be setting in soon. And we are providing clothes, shoes, boots, hats, scarves, coats, and all the things that you're going to need for the winter to the brothers and sisters that are less fortunate. If you got family, loved ones, people you care about in this city, get them in contact with the ISUPK again. Saturday, November 2nd, this Saturday from 1 to 6, we're going to be giving out clothes and food and all the necessities that brothers and sisters are going to need for this winter here at the school. All right, so we printed out some flyers. We've been handing them around all through the city. We're trying to get as many brothers and sisters that are in need to come through. So you send your people here, man, to get the help they need. All right, hopefully with this clothing drive, we'll be able to touch some brothers and sisters and let them know that there is a place here in the city of Memphis where they can come to get the help and get the support, get the leadership, guidance, and the counsel they need in order to be able to draw closer to the Most High and learn what it means to be the people that He called us to be. That's what these classes are about that we teach every week. Right? Since 1969, the Israelite School of UPK has been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2024, there is nothing more important than for God's chosen people to learn the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is on the earth. And so that's what we do with these classes here in the ISUPK is we go into this book called the Bible, give brothers and sisters the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that they need in order to be able to come back to being the people the Lord called us to be and to reclaim our righteous place on the earth as kings, priests, princes, princesses, and daughters of Zion. With that being said, man, I'd like to start these classes off with questions. If there's any questions in the room, raise your hand. Any questions online, all you got to do is type them in. If there are no questions, we're going to go into tonight's topic. The topic for tonight's class is pride before the fall. All right. Pride before the fall is the topic of tonight's class. And it comes from the scripture in the Bible that I'm sure many people are familiar with, regardless of what your background is. We've all heard the term um, pride goes before destruction, right? Or pride goes before a fall. And that is where the topic of tonight's class is coming from. And we're going to break that scripture down and we're going to go into the Bible and show you the reason why in such a time as we're living in, with all the turmoil and with all the things that are going on in the earth, why is it that nobody is looking up to see what is going on with the Most High? Why is it that so many of our people, with everything that's going on, you would think that black people who said that they love God and was raised in church would be saying, where's Jesus? You understand? You would think that people who say that they believe in God and believe in the Bible would be looking for deliverance. But right now in this time, all I see is people talking about voting. I see people talking about trying to get a better job and sending their children to college. When if you look at everything that's going on in the earth in totality, right? Meaning you don't just look at the upcoming election. You don't just look at the failing economy and the gas prices and the grocery prices rising. You don't just look at the jobs closing, certain jobs disappearing from existence because of all these computers and this robotics and AI. You know what I'm saying? You look at the, you know, all the problems in the economy and people not being able to pay their bills and the rise in prices and housing. But then you also look over there in the Middle East and you see war with those with Iran and Jews in Jerusalem. You see the Palestinians and Hamas going to war, Palestinians and Hezbollah going to war with the Jews, and you see Russia getting North Korean troops to go and fight in Ukraine. And America sending soldiers in the Jerusalem to be able to operate the defense systems that the Jewish people have against Iran. If you put all these things together, hell, look at all the natural disasters that's going on. You look at the hurricane that hit last month and flooding in the mountains in North Carolina that came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You look at drought in different parts of the country and different places in the earth. You look at right now, you go online, you'll see there's flooding in the Sahara Desert. Flood waters in the Sahara Desert, a part of the earth where there hasn't been any rain, where there hasn't been any floods, a part of the earth where there's been nothing but desert and dust and, nothingness. It's raining uncontrollably and there's flooding that they've never seen in thousands of years. And you sit back and you look at everything that's taking place on the earth in its entirety. How could you not see that this is the Lord moving on the earth? How could you not see that the times the Bible speaks about are upon us? And because people aren't aware or don't have their eyes open, they are pushing forward with a lifestyle and with a culture and with an ideology that was given to them by the rulers or the powers that be here in America. And it is pushing forward for a life that's built on not acknowledging God. It's a life that's built on pride. It's a life that's built on, I'm a person, I'm a man, I can do what I want to do, or I can create the world that I want. All these different belief systems and religions about manifestation and about, you know, visualizing your future and the life you want for yourself and achieving it. A lot of those things get in the way of being able to submit yourself to the Most High and really live your life in a way that is pleasing to Him, not in a way that is always about you. All right, so that's what we're going to go into tonight. The first scripture, of course, we're going to get to is first scripture we're going to is Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18. All right, we're going to break that down. All right. All right, this is Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18. Proverbs 16 and 18 says, pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Better it is to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. Everybody understands? This is an amazing scripture when you put it in context of the times that we're living in. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. You understand? This makes me think of right now in America, there's an election that's coming up next week. And on both sides of this election, on the Republican side, you have Donald Trump and all of the people that support him. And on the Democrat side, you have Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and all the people who are supporting them. And on both sides of this division that exists in America right now, you have people that are super proud of their stance and confident that their way is the way that is going to prevail in the earth going forward. Whether you're a Republican and you believe in Donald Trump and you trust in the racist rhetoric of there's too many immigrants in this country and there's so many illegals and we got to make America great again and we're going to deport all of these people that we don't want here and we're going to take our country back. That whole strategy is based on targeting the pride that exists in white people in America. Like it's taking their pride in being white and turning it up 1,000. The only way that you could see yourself voting for Donald Trump is if you wholeheartedly believe that white people are superior, America is a white country, and all these other brown people are ruining our country. And Donald Trump is going to take it back and get rid of these darkies and these brownies and put them in their place. And then what? You're going to rule the earth? America's going to go on forever? America's never going to stop being the superpower on the earth? That pride comes right before destruction. That pride is what fuels a people right before they fall on their face and are destroyed off of the earth. You understand? And on the other side, with Kamala Harris, what is the pride that exists on that side? The pride on the Democratic side is these racist white people are out of their goddamn mind. They're crazy. Donald Trump is stupid. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's talking about people eating dogs and cats. These racist white people are backwards, and the society they want doesn't exist anymore. Yes, there's a woman of color who's running for office, and she's going to win. No more is the time for the white power structure to be in charge. No, it's a new day in America. Women's empowerment, women's liberation. The women going to be free to do what they want to do with their bodies. If you were a man and you want to cut off your penis and have a vagina, we're going to pay for that. Even if you're in jail. You a woman and you get pregnant, you don't want to keep that baby, we're going to allow you to rip that baby out of you because it's your right. And you're a woman and nobody can tell you what to do with your body. And they believe that standing on that is going to propel them beyond the racist demagogues that have existed in Western society since the beginning of Western society. The thought process and the mindset of Donald Trump and people that think like him has existed since the days of the Greeks and the Romans. It's not a new thing in the earth. It's not a uniquely American thing. That mindset and thought process is what allowed them to conquer the earth. Well, the people on the side of Kamala Harris believes that the time for that is over with. And they are proud as hell that they're going to be rainbows and gay and LGBTQ and women's empowerment and ripping babies out of their womb. And they're going to topple the white power structure. Destruction comes right after that pride. That pride that they have on that Democratic side to defeat racism. You're going to defeat racism in America, a country that was built on everything that Donald Trump stands for. You're going to beat it with a East Indian woman who's married to a white man? Come on now. And on both sides, the people that are at the top are triggering the people who they call their base, the people who they believe are going to vote for them by targeting their pride. Oh, if you're black in America, you're going to vote for Donald Trump. How dare you? Barack Obama got up there at one of the meetings and said, if you black, what are we even talking about? You better go vote for Kamala, as if voting for Kamala is a, vote for blackness, a stand on blackness. Since when did any politician, any political figure represent blackness? But that's the way that they speak to us. That's the way that they talk to us because they're targeting your pride. Aren't you proud to be a black man? Look at all the racist white people look at all the things racist white people done to you. You're going to go vote for Donald Trump as if voting for Kamala Harris is a vote against racist white people. Like, that's insane. They're triggering you. They're triggering your pride. You understand? Them LGBTQs, or you LGBTQ, you vote for Donald Trump, you will get your own people. What else happened to all the rainbows and the twerking in the street in June? Ain't you proud to be LGBTQ? You gonna go vote for Donald Trump? Now they're gonna use your pride of being LGBTQ against your whiteness. Now you got to pick. What am I more proud of? Am I more proud of being white, or am I more proud of being LGBTQ? On both sides, they believe that their way is right, that their way is going to win, and that when they win, their way is going to take over the earth. Those of us who believe in God and understand the Bible, we understand what comes at the end of all of this. It's Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18 again. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Better it is to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. And that is what neither side in this country is capable of. None of these politicians, none of these political leaders, none of these entertainers are capable of having a humble spirit with the lowly. Now, they all up there trying to divide the spoil with the proud. That's what those Puff Daddy parties was about. That's what the Democratic National Convention is about, the Republican National Convention. You understand? Kamala Harris had a rally out there. She had Beyonce come out there. Those shows, Donald Trump went and sat on the Joe Rogan podcast, right? Kamala Harris went and did an interview on some feminist radio show called Daddy Please or Daddy No or Yes Daddy, some wild woman sexual liberation podcast. They'll go and do those shows. They'll go and sit with those people, but they won't come to the ghetto. They won't come to the barrio or the reservation. Why isn't Kamala Harris going down there to the border to all of those detainee centers and speaking with those people? You understand? You hear Donald Trump talk about all of this rhetoric of deportation and these immigrants, not acknowledging that under Barack Obama, more people was deported under his presidency than any other other presidency combined before his time. You'll hear Donald Trump, because he's trying to spark the racism in his base, he'll talk about getting rid of all these illegals, but don't nobody get rid of more Mexicans and Hispanics and Haitians and Latinos and Caribbean brothers and sisters than the Democrats. The Democrats will smile in your face and tell you that they love you and they're for you, while also telling you to murder your babies and telling your women to get their tubes tied and your men to get vasectomies so they can stop you from having children. They don't understand what it's like to have a humble spirit and to divide the spoil with the lowly. Now, they all up there super proud and happy of their lifestyle, believing that they are going to live forever and there's going to be a enlightening time coming when the Lord begins to show everybody that these words that he put in this book called the Bible were true and real. Everybody understands. Let's drop that. Let me get let's see something. Let's get Psalm chapter 10. There's so much here, but I don't want to get bogged down in reading all of it. We're gonna read Psalm chapter 10, verse 4 down to verse 7. All right. These scriptures are concerning the proud are speaking to your leaders in the earth today. They're speaking to the people who are in positions of power and authority that refuse to acknowledge God, refuse to acknowledge the Most High. And this goes beyond just political figures. This goes beyond just your entertainers. This also goes into your religious leaders. For the life of me, in 2024, I've been far removed from church for so long, right, that I don't really understand the mindset or the psyche of people that go to church. And I constantly ask myself, what are the pastors teaching in the church right now? Like, what is Sunday's sermon about right before the election? With all the things transpiring in the earth right now, all the things that's going on, with all the blatant racism on one side of the Republicans and all the blatant debauchery and sexual freedom and sexual deviancy that is open and accepted on the Democrat side, how do people who claim to serve God and love God stand in the middle? And how do you pick a side? When the pastor goes to preach this Sunday about the election, what is he saying? How does anybody leave church Sunday feeling good? Feeling like, man, pastor gave a good word. It's an amazing thing to me that in 2024, nobody's checking for God. Nobody is saying, hold up, man. This stuff that's happening is taking place. It ain't right. This world is not right. This society is not right. Where are the people that are asking for God? Where are the people that are saying, where's God? I don't see them except for in the ISUPK. And because nobody is looking for God, when they encounter us, we're super serious about God. We're not only looking for him, we found him and we're doing what he told us to do so that he'll deliver us. People are so far removed from the thought of God at all that when they encounter us, They look at us like, man, y'all niggas are crazy. Y'all are insane. What are you talking about? God, what, nigga? You're crazy. And there was a time when I first came in the truth, I expected it, right? I knew that this was something that was fringe. I knew that this was something that was extreme, but I always been that type of person. When I learn something and I can prove it, man, you can't tell me nothing, man. I beat you into the ground with everything that I know, right? I remember when I first learned the truth, I was like, yo, this is so amazing, but nobody's gonna believe me. I knew nobody would believe me. I knew that when I told people about what the Bible said about celebrating these holidays and what the Bible said about eating pork and what the Bible said about having sex with hoes and what the Bible said about not smoking weed, I knew that nobody would believe me. But having been in the truth for some time, it's like, why don't y'all believe us? Why don't you believe me? Clearly, what you've been taught can't be true. What they're saying in church can't be real. What they're saying in the mosque, all these rappers converting to Islam. How, my nigga? How are y'all in 2024 still converting to Islam? Don't you know the Muslims came out in the 60s and all of them sold dope and drugs and got locked up? Don't you know that all of the 5%ers and all of the Nation of Islam niggas, they all came out of jail. They all was criminals, selling dope and drugs and killing niggas. Like, how did Islam make a resurgence? It's amazing. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And maybe it's not meant for me to understand. But what I do understand is that these words I'm about to read now goes a long way to explaining why the people at the top refuse to acknowledge God. Why we at the bottom don't, it's something that is mind-boggling to me. But this pride we about to read about is not just your oppressor. It's not just one race of people. It's not just people in political positions of authority. It's not just rich people. It's not just entertainers and athletes. It's not just your religious leaders. It's all of them. All right. Psalm chapter 10, verse 4 says, the wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance. What is the pride of their countenance? Their vision of themselves in their mind, right? The pride of their countenance is not just how they look. It's their pride. They're proud of who they are and what they represent. Puff Daddy was proud to be a black mogul, black billionaire, nigga. Who gonna touch me? Who could see me? And was what I'm doing right? Should I abuse these men and these women? What are you talking about? I do what I want to do, nigga. I'm Puff Daddy. Through the pride of his countenance, God is not at all in his thoughts. Donald Trump, billionaire mogul in real estate. He's Mr. You're fired. He was the president. He told people, come down January 6th. And guess what? They showed up. You think Donald Trump don't understand the power he got? You don't think he look at himself in the mirror and he says, I'm going to get these motherfuckers killed for me. Excuse my language. I am going to win, period. And if I don't win, we're going to burn it all down. That's the pride of his countenance. God is not at all in his thoughts. He doesn't think of the effect his words have on actual people in real life. He doesn't think of how treacherous it is for him to demonize poor Hispanic people who are coming into this country just trying to find a job to work and make a little bit of ends meet for their children, man. He talking about dividing families and stripping them at the border. He talking about deporting 13 million people. He doesn't have a conscience of what the reality of that looks like and does to people. Because of the pride of their countenance, they will not seek after God. God is not at all in their thoughts. Verse 5, his ways are always grievous. The ways of the pastor are always grievous. The pastor has done nothing but grieve black people in our community for the last 80 years. They tell you to sing and dance and vote and go to college and pay your tithes. And when your children die and your sons become homosexuals and your daughters become whores, they tell you to praise Jesus. When your community gets worse and the jobs go away and there's poverty and there's drug addiction and there's homelessness, they tell you to pray and put it in God's hands. Their ways are grievous. You got billionaires in this society today. I don't think people fathom just how much a billion is, right? $1 billion is something that is, it's like goofy money. It's like monopoly money. You couldn't spend $1 billion on earth if you wanted to. Like you hear about billionaires buying, they buy a sports team. That money is it only exists on the computer screen. Like there's no such thing as $1 billion. But you have billionaires who refuse to pay their workers more than minimum wage. You have billionaires in a country of America that won't let Congress vote to elevate minimum wage past like $7.70. Minimum wage in the United States of America is $7.70. And you got billionaires that will go and lobby and fight the government not to raise it to $10, $15. If you're Jeff Bezos and you own Amazon, why can't your workers make $25 an hour? Like you have billions of dollars, brother. The wicked through the Salaki, his ways are always grievous. You understand? These entertainers, how could you be a black man and act in a movie where you're getting raped or you're being a homosexual? You don't think of the impact that has on young boys and young girls. All of these TV shows and all of these basketball wives and hot girls Atlanta, you on the TV, you don't think about, the impact that your acting is going to have on somebody. You don't think about someone watching this at home and thinking this is real life and wanting to emulate that. No. Their ways are always grievous. Everybody understands? Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. God's judgments is above out of their sight. They don't even comprehend that God is going to deal with them one day. They don't even think that there's consequences and repercussions for the way that they are behaving and conducting themselves, because God is not at all in their thoughts. As for his enemies, he puffeth at them. You understand? As for their enemies, they puff at them. What you gonna do? You gonna stop us? That's the mentality of the Republicans and the Democrats. Donald Trump had a rally the other day. A comedian came up there and was like, "Yeah, Puerto Rico is he said, yeah." He said something horrible about Puerto Rico, bro. He was like, "There's a dirt pile in the middle of the Caribbean or something. We call it Puerto Rico." He said some horrible joke. Wasn't even funny. And they did a joke, and they like these people are showing you what you're gonna do. We'll say whatever we want to say. We'll say we hate Mexicans. Donald Trump said, "I'm gonna deport 13 million of these illegals, these criminals, and these murderers," and there's no consequences. There's no repercussions. And we are beginning to see the true nature of our oppressor. And it's because of their pride, they have to put it in your face. Because of their pride, they have to put you in your spot. Make sure you understand that you're at the bottom and they're at the top, and there's nothing you can do about it. You understand? Verse 6, he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. That's because of their pride. That's what's in their mind. Who cares about these poor and suffering? I'll never be poor and suffering. Who cares about these people at the bottom? I'll never be at the bottom. Who cares about the people we're going to deport? I'll never be deported. That's their mindset. That's their pride. And they're not realizing that the Lord is right around the corner, man. The time that the Bible speaks of before the end is the time that we're living in now. All the things that we're witnessing and that we're seeing going on in the earth, it's the Bible coming to fruition. For anybody that thought the Bible was a fairy tale book or just a good luck charm or something, you go to church and hear the pastor read one scripture and you feel good or feel better about your situation, you are in for a rude awakening. That is not what the Bible is. The Bible is a historical and cultural record of a people and their dealings with God, and how God dealt with them so closely and loved them so much that he showed them the future and told them that in the future, in the end, This is what's going to happen before I come and revisit the earth. So you better be prepared. You better be ready when I come. Because when I come, if I find you not doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to get jammed up. And lo and behold, we in that time, and we're taking heed to this message. We're waking up to the warning. We're waking up to our history, and we're preparing ourselves. And as we're preparing ourselves, we are seeing who's not preparing. And the people that are not preparing are the people who are about to go vote on Tuesday. People who are not preparing are the people who are ready to go to war if Donald Trump loses. The people who are not prepared are the people that are ready to go to war if Kamala Harris doesn't win. I'm going to be at my slavery next Tuesday. I'm going to be at my slavery next Tuesday during this election, and I'm going to be in the break room watching the results come in to see who won the presidency. And I'm anxious to see what is the mood of the people that I work with at this slavery. Because I work at a plantation-style slavery where there's a ton of people from all over these different parts of the Mid-South. And I'm anxious to see, because we sit in this room. It's a big room with a lot of TVs. Sometimes the football game be on, we be in there cheering. Sometimes the basketball game be on, we in there cheering. But a few weeks ago, we was in there and that debate was on with with Tim Walz and the cat that's running for Republican vice president. And I sat in there and I looked through. I wasn't watching the debate. I'm looking in the room. And I'm looking at the people in the room, and you could tell who's voting for who. You could tell who's pulling for who to say the right thing. And brother, if depending on how this election turned, I'll be surprised if we make it through the night at work. I will be greatly surprised if we make it through the night at work. And if you're not prepared, you're gonna get swept up in it. You're gonna get caught up in it, and you're gonna miss the Lord. You understand? Psalms chapter 10, verse 7. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Everybody understands? His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. This is talking about the wicked. This is talking about your pastors. This is talking about your imams, your spiritual leaders. This is talking about, your relationship therapists. This is talking about your comedians, your actors, your basketball players, your politicians, your Donald Trump, your Kamala Harris, all of those people in positions of authority. They are the wicked. And everything that they say and do is to deceive the people who are under their spell, under their purview, meaning people they have authority over, influence over. And in this day and time, man, if you're allowing anybody, anything to be an influence over you that is not of the Most High, I feel sorry for you. You're in a bad spot. You're in a bad place. You understand? Salute the officer, Barack Haman in the chat. Salakia, Barack, you've been commenting. Now, let me go ahead and get back to some of these comments. I think you asked a question. He says, Salaki, I have a brother at the slavery who is gun-ho for Donald Trump and always wants to talk about the election. How do I wave him off without offending my supervisor? Okay. Well, okay. You can, okay, this is what I used to do, right? And what I do today with these conversations surrounding politics and voting and things like that. I never give answers to people. I just ask questions. Right? So if somebody that's gun-ho about Donald Trump that's saying, yeah, man, Donald Trump going to win the election, he going to change America, make it great again, I would just ask, well, what is Donald Trump going to do that's going to make America great? And just listen to him regurgitate the bullshit that Donald Trump been saying. Oh, man, he going to secure the border, man. He going to get, okay, so Donald Trump secures the border. What's going to happen to the cost of food? Because right now, food is so cheap because you got all these illegals coming in here. They work in them fields, brother, getting paid 50 cents an hour. What happens when Donald Trump gets rid of all those workers? Who going to work those fields for that price? Then he make him answer. He going to say, well, nah, man, get those jobs to some good Americans and blah, blah, blah. And you say, okay, so when the tomatoes go from being 10 cents a tomato to $2, you going to be okay with that? You going to be cool with all them people that got deported? I just ask questions. They come to me, oh man, Kamala Harris, man, she Indian, man. She this and that, and this. and I just listen to what they saying. Okay. So when Kamala Harris get elected, what's she gonna do for black people? Or, if Kamala Harris get elected, what you afraid of? Oh man, she gonna do this, she gonna do that. But then you do know Joe Biden been doing that for the last 4 years. Or you worry about Donald Trump deporting the Mexicans. Don't you know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris done deported more Mexicans than Trump did? I watched the interview Kamala Harris did the other day. She straight up said there's less illegals in the country today than there were when Donald Trump was president. How could she say that? What did that statement even mean? That statement means Donald Trump was letting more people over the border than we had. If that's true, what is Donald Trump even talking about? He's just saying what he has to say to trigger the pride in racist white people. Like, it's a game that's being played on a level that the people that's being played don't even understand. And it's they don't understand it because they're proud. You understand? They're leaning to their own understanding. They think that they know what's going on, not realizing they're being played. And that's been people on the earth since the beginning of time. The masses of people are largely ignorant and unaware of what's going on, and the people that are at the top with the power and the authority and the influence, they're the ones that are responsible, which is why the Bible speaks to them. The Bible speaks to the powerful. The Bible speaks to those who are in charge. The Bible speaks to the people who are at the top. Why? Because they bear the responsibility of the suffering of the people at the bottom. And in this society, this culture, the people at the top, they prey on the people at the bottom. You're just meat in the grinder. And it doesn't matter what your race is. It doesn't matter what your class is. You think they care about that? They don't care, really. They don't care. You understand? Let me drop that. Let's get we got the pride, destruction. Ways are always grievous. Let's see something. Let's get Isaiah, verse 47. This is crazy. And this breakdown I'm giving right now is one that you may have heard before if you've been in these classes for a considerable amount of time. But it's so beautiful to me how, given the subject and the context, these same scriptures we read can cover a multitude of what's the word I'm looking for? It cover a multitude of context, meaning the scriptures are so broad reaching, but also very specific for a lot of different things. And I've taught this class before concerning pride and pride going before the fall. But right now, in this time that we're in now, it's super laser focused on you people that think everything is going to be all right. You're horribly mistaken. And this mistake you're making is going to be felt very painfully very soon. The people that believe that everything is all right and America is going to continue forever. How could you be so stupid? How could you be so blind? How could you be so ignorant? I'm a student of history. I study history. That's something I've always been. It's been an interest of mine, right? Ancient cultures and civilizations of the past, and a lot of different things. And in every civilization that has fallen, there were signs and symptoms of the fall of that civilization that preceded it. And a lot of it revolves around the devolving of societal structures, meaning religion is a structure that puts moralities in place. It puts do's and don'ts and restrictions and rules and guidelines. And it goes along with government, goes along with, there being an established authority, who's in charge, who gives the orders, who does everybody follow. And when you're in a society, and in every major society that has ever existed on the earth, people get to a place of comfort and of ability and of, um, living good, that they feel like these limitations and these structures that are in place are no longer needed. Before people descend into chaos and their civilization crumbles, the people become distrustful of the government. People say the government, man, these people in charge, they shouldn't be in charge, man. I don't know who put them in power. They in power and they abusing the people. They, molesting them and raping them and taking their money and making them pay taxes and making them work all day and never giving them enough to eat and enough to live a good, decent life. And there's a huge disparity between the people at the top and the people at the bottom. You understand? And the people at the top, because they got all the money and the wealth, they don't need to follow these rules and follow this religion and God. What God? Nigga, I'm God. You know how much money I got? Do what I want to do. I have sex with who I want to have sex with. I abuse and rape and molest and do whatever the hell I want to do. Who's going to stop me? And that breaking down of structures and standards and morals and limits and rules within a society is what causes everybody within the society to say, well, hell, if these people ain't got to follow the rules and do what they supposed to do, why should I? And when you have a society or a civilization where there is no rules, there is no morality, there are no limitations, there are no structures, there is no authority, then the people are going to kill, fight, and destroy each other until there's nothing left. And you go and you look at research the Babylonian Empire. You go and research the, ancient Chinese empires. You go and research the Mongolian dynasty with Kublai Khan and Genghis Khan. You go research those empires in Africa with Mansa Musa and all these people. You go look at the history of the Europe and the Europeans. You go in every major civilization. You go look into research the Mayans and the Aztecs. There's some research out there that the devil done that shows you at the time when these people encountered these Europeans, their society was on the fringes. And because there was not enough structures and rules in place, when they found these white people on these horses, brother, it was the end of their life as they knew it. And we're in that same time right now here in America, and people aren't recognizing it or realizing it because they cannot fathom America no longer existing. They cannot fathom these comforts that they've been afforded being available to them. But brother, when that time hits, it is going to be such a rude, horrible awakening for so many people. Everybody understands. It's Isaiah chapter 47. We're going to go to verse 5. All right. It says, "Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called the lady of kingdoms." This is speaking about Babylon. In modern day America, the empire of America, not just America, meaning the American government, but the Western world, the Western powers. This is your banking system. This is your Jeff Bezos. This is your Elon Musk, your Donald Trumps, all of the rich, wealthy people that are in control in the earth. Verse 6, "I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke." The Lord is talking about how we went into captivity, how his people went into slavery. The Lord said, "I was angry with my people. I was wroth with them and I gave them into your hands." But guess what? You didn't have no pity. You didn't have no mercy. You laid a heavy burden on the ancient. Who are the ancient? The people. The ancient people of the earth. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we're the ancient people of the earth. And they've laid a very heavy yoke on us. Everybody understands? Verse 7, "And thou said, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou did not lay these things to thy heart, neither did remember the latter end of it." You see, their pride made them forget about God. This current generation of our oppressors, they don't know that we are in this position we in because we disobeyed the Lord. They believe they're stronger than us. They're smarter than us. They're more, hardworking than us. How could they think that? How could they imagine in their minds that they're better than us on any level? Everything about life in 2024 should show our oppressors we're better than them. We're bigger than them, stronger than them, faster than them, smarter than them, more intelligent than them. We're better warriors, better fighters, better killers. Our women are more finer. We're better at singing and dancing and all the arts and all the cultural things. Like, how could they think that there's any competition? They don't. Not at the top, they don't. People at the bottom, because of them being gaslit by different people based off their pride, they convince themselves they're better than us, but they know they're not. And so, being that they know we're better than them, but we're at the bottom, they've forgotten that our power comes from the Lord, that our redemption and our Redeemer is the most high power of the earth. And they forget that they got to deal with him. They got to answer to him. Verse 8, therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures that dwells carelessly, that says in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. That's what they said. They said, man, I'm sitting at the top and nobody else beside me. I will not be a widow, and I will not know the loss of children. Donald Trump don't care about deporting Hispanic families, because in his mind, I'll take a husband from her wife, because my wife will never be a widow. I'll take children from their parents. Guess what? Because we'll never know the loss of children in my family. These things that they do to other people, they never fathom that it could ever come back to them. Let's keep reading. Verse 9. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. Everybody understands. The Lord said in one day, you're going to know the great loss of children. And you're going to know the great loss of husbands. What does that mean? War, destruction. Great death is coming to your oppressor. They are going to know what it means to be a widow, and they are going to know what it means to lose children, because all of their mighty strong men of war are going to fight, and they are going to die, and the women are going to be sad and crying over their children and their dead husbands. That's what the Bible is saying. You understand? Why? Because of the multitude of their sorceries and the great abundance of their enchantments. What's an enchantment? The television is an enchantment, right? Programming. We call it programming today. The Bible calls it an enchantment. All right. We call it, messaging that you receive through music and social media. The Bible calls it sorcery. You understand? The sorceries and enchantments are all of these thoughts and all of these ways of living that have been made acceptable and made okay and been promoted. That's witchcraft. It's sorcery. You understand? It's an enchantment. Literally, sometimes I don't think people consider technology today, right? The time we're living in. Right now, you all are sitting at home and you're watching class, right? I'm sitting in a room. There's chairs in here. There's a camera here. There's a microphone. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this camera and I'm talking into this microphone. But anywhere in the planet Earth, somebody could open up their vision box and type in a code, and they can be connected to my camera, my computer, my microphone, transmitting my image and my voice simultaneously. As these words are coming out, you're being able to see it wherever you are. That's an enchantment. That's a sorcery. Like, technology is, it's what the Bible, it's what someone living thousands of years ago would call wizardry, right? It's wizardry. And today, the society we live in, there's a lot of people who believe that they think what they think and they feel what they feel because that's who they are. Not realizing that the majority of what you think and the majority of what you feel is what you've been taught to think. It's what you've been taught to feel. All of us are born into this earth not knowing anything. I got a 5-month-old daughter at home, and she doesn't know anything. Every day she's learning. Every day I watch her learn and process information. Small things, little things, right? And I know for a fact she doesn't know how to feel. She doesn't know what to think. She doesn't have a clue about any of this stuff. But one day she will feel, and what she will feel is going to be based off of what I teach her. How I teach her to feel. How I teach her to think. How I teach her to receive information. And how she processes the things that she sees on the TV or hears on the radio or hears in adult conversations. So many of us were raised not by our parents talking to us like adults and treating us like we're little people, but by the TV and the radio, who knows for a fact one day you're going to be an adult grown person. And this is how we want you to think. This is how we want you to feel. This is what we want you to be sensitive towards. This is what we want you to be passionate about. So many people, that's their lives. They're puppets on a string. And who is the puppet master? The one who decides what enchantment and what sorcery is poured into your home. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Like it's not the technology that's evil; it's the way it's used, the programming that is placed into it. The Lord said, because of that, He's going to destroy this place. Again, what is the enchantment and the sorcery they're doing now? Inspiring all these people to be proud. Be so proud of their woman's right to murder their babies that they'll go to war if Kamala Harris loses. So proud of their freedom and their democracy and their country that's white to continue to be that way that they'll go to war if Donald Trump don't get elected. That's a sorcery and an enchantment. And it's coming out of your TV. It's coming out of your vision box, out of your computer, out of your radio, your podcast. I listen to a lot of different things, right? My sports podcast can't even remain about sports because of all of the politics. They constantly trying to tell me how to feel and how to think. But because I know the Lord, I'm like, y'all, why is this even on the sports podcast? This is insane. Can I just hear about niggas catching the ball and how many threes was scored last night? The sorceries and the enchantments are the ways that the people are being manipulated. Everybody understands. Isaiah 47:10. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge it has perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Everybody understand? This is the proud. These are the people that believe that they will always be in power, that they will never be taken down out of their seat of authority. And the Lord is saying, I see you and I understand, but there's pain that's coming. There's hurt that's coming. There's bloodshed that is coming. And because of your pride, you refuse to acknowledge it. And that pride is what goes before the fall. Everybody understands. Isaiah 47:11. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from where it riseth. And mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Like we could be 4 days, 5 days away from all out anarchy in the streets of America. Could be 4 or 5 days away from 911 doesn't work. The government is no longer in control. There's militias and gangs and street, whatever, I don't know. Yeah, the bottom could fall out Tuesday. Everybody is, thinking it's sweet. It could get very ugly very fast. The Lord said, when the evil comes and when it rises, you're not gonna know where it came from. It's gonna come suddenly, and you're gonna be lost. Everybody understands. Verse 12. Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art, verse 13, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Where do you go today to hear these people? Where do you go today to hear the multitude of counsels? Where are the astrologers and the stargazers and the monthly prognosticators? They on the internet. They're online. Do people even read a horoscope in the newspaper no more? No, it's not in the newspaper no more. The horoscope is online. You know how many times I'm on social media and I bump into a woman that this is a little symbol, right? It's two symbols that I see a lot. And now I see this on a woman's profile, whether it be on social media or dating apps. I ain't been on no dating apps in who knows how long, but on social media, right? If you see one of these two symbols, it's how you know a woman is got schizophrenia or hears voices, right? There's a symbol that's a hand. It's a hand with an eyeball in the middle. A bunch of different designs and patterns in the hand. A woman that woman is schizophrenic. Absolutely hears voices, and she thinks that she's can manifest things in her life, and she believes that she's a Venus moon and a Saturn sun, and she's a Taurus. So that means that she'll key your car and bust your windows down and get you fired at your job because you didn't come and see her on Thursday. You see this symbol, the hand with the eyeball in the middle. That's witchcraft. That's stargazing, monthly prognosticator. That's a woman that she'll fight you because Mercury is in retrograde. She's crying uncontrollably because Mercury is in retrograde. That woman is insane. That woman is absolutely schizophrenic, and she's depressed and has bipolar disorder, and she needs to go see a doctor and get some therapy and some medicine. Another symbol, there's a little blue circle with a smaller, lighter blue circle in the middle, and there's black in the middle of that smaller, lighter blue circle. That woman also is absolutely insane. She also is absolutely has schizophrenia and suffers with depression and bipolar disorder. And those beliefs is, of the sun and the moon and the stars and the Taurus and Venus and Mercury. It's a way for demons to dominate someone in a controlled fashion. Like without that belief, without them tarot cards, and without the zodiac, those women would absolutely go insane. But because of they use that belief system to make sense of their chaos. The chaos in their mind is made sensible because, oh yeah, I'm a Venus moon and I'm a Saturn sun and Mercury's in retrograde. So now, it's not their fault that they're crazy and they're uncontrollable and they go off the handle and they, get high and cry and cut themselves and have sex with men and never consider that he just wants to have sex with me. They don't, none of that. They can't take accountability for anything. Mercury's in retrograde. What you wanted to do? She was, she had to have some sex with somebody, brother. That's sorcery. You understand? What my whole point of that was these women learn these things on the internet. That's the whole point. I'm sorry. The whole point of the chick with the hand and the eyeball in the middle, and the chick with the blue circle with the lighter blue circle in the middle with the black in the middle, those beliefs are born from the internet. Not to say it didn't exist before the internet, because that hand with the eyeball been around for a long time. The little blue circle with the light blue in the middle with the black, that's new, right? I don't know where that came from. But I do know that it's the internet. These women are learning it from the internet. You know how many tarot card reading broads there are on TikTok? How many palm readers there are on TikTok? I remember back in the day when I grew up in DC, there was a strip where you would go and get your fortune told, right? Come to find, well, another thing about that whole fortune telling tarot card reading thing, a lot of those women were selling vagina. I don't know if y'all know that or not. Back in the big cities, I'm in Memphis. I don't know if Memphis is a big city, but back in the big cities, those tarot card places and the lady in the room with the crystal ball that tell you your future, they were selling vagina down there. The men wasn't going to get their palm read. The men weren't going to get her to look into the crystal ball. Men were going in there to turn tricks. Women were going to get their palm read. Women were going to get told their fortune and their future. That they was paying money for that part. The men was going in there to clap them gypsy cheeks. Excuse my language. And that's today. That's what all of that. These mystic women. That's what it's all about. It's about sex. Go look at the history of some of these nations of people. This is not speaking personally, but my wife the other day was bringing up to me about this show. It shows these gypsy people, right, in gypsy culture, and she was saying, yeah, a lot of these gypsy ways is kind of like the Israelites. They marry their daughters off, they have arranged marriages, and once a woman have sex with a man, they got to be together forever. And there's a whole show about these gypsy Romanian people getting married. And I didn't say it to my rib the other day, but I wanted to say to her, well, the gypsy women have been, historically known for their sexual prowess, right? The Kardashians are gypsies. And them Kardashian women are one family in a long history of families of gypsy women that when they get attached to a man, they suck dry the life out of that man. They call it a succubus. Gypsy women in like the Middle Ages and the in the Dark Ages and in medieval Europe, they were hated. The gypsies were hated because of how they stayed close knit in their family units, but also because their women were famous for seducing men, having sex with them, getting married, and then the man dying or losing all of his wealth, and then the gypsy woman gets all of it and takes it back to her people and break it down. And they've been famous on the earth for that, so much so that in Europe, they were ostracized. Don't you deal with no damn gypsy. They take everything you got, use you up and spit you out, chew you up and spit you out. And that's the Kardashians today. Go look at any man that's ever laid down with a Kardashian chick, all the way back to their mother. Rob Kardashian was a famous attorney in Los Angeles. Married their mother, whatever their mother's name is, Kylie, Kayla, whatever their mother's name is. She married Rob Kardashian. Oh, he died magically at the peak of health. And then what she do? She took all the money that Rob Kardashian had, and she married Olympic swimmer dude, Mr. Wheaties Box, from the 1970s, Kyle Jenner. Kyle Jenner was like white man fitness, white man athlete guy of the 70s. She married him, and 30 years later, he's got a dress on, having sex with men. Guess what? She kept all that money. She kept him close. Her daughter, how did Kim Kardashian get famous? Having sex with Ray J. Ray J blew her back out. That's how she got famous. Then after Ray J, who was it? Reggie Bush. Then after Reggie Bush, it was Kanye West. It was Chris forget the basketball player. Their whole family, all them Kardashian chicks, famous for what? Having sex with men, draining them of everything they got, and then moving on. That's the I said all that to say, if the Kardashians lived in another time or in another place, they would be tarot card readers. They would be, the lady with the crystal ball in some dark room in the basement somewhere. And if you were a man going to see her, you're coming to get laid. You're coming to have sex. You're not coming for her to tell you the future. All right? If y'all didn't know. Isaiah 47:13 is telling the oppressor, telling the proud, telling the powers that be, oh no, don't be afraid now. Don't call out for God now. Stand with all your sorceries. Stand with all your religions. Stand with all your beliefs. If it's Mercury in retrograde that causes you to behave the way you do, no problem. Where's Mercury when Christ returns? That's what you should be. Find out where Mercury is when America explodes in the Civil War. You understand? What is what retrograde is Saturn in when the bombs drop in the Middle East? Oh, no, don't abandon it now. Don't abandon all of your horoscopes now. What is the horoscope saying about World War III? If you're a Scorpio, you're gonna get burnt up in the nuclear blast. What does the horoscope tell you about Scorpio? There's death and pain in your future. Sagittarius, you will be broke because the job you work, the company is gonna go out of business. Leo, you will be drafted into the military and have to go fight for your oppressor. Like, what is the stand with that? Don't flee from it now. Don't look for God now. Stand with all the things that have allowed you to progress and move forward in life and in the world. I'm really interested to see where all those people going to go. Like, as things bust wide open, what are the tarot card readers going to be saying? Food shortages in the grocery stores, prices too high. What are those people who supposed to be in charge? I mean, supposed to be, making you feel better about life. What they going to be saying? What are they going to be doing? Isaiah 47:14. Behold, they shall they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm it, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander everyone to his quarter, none shall save thee. Everybody understands? That's the message from the Lord to the wicked. That's the message from the Lord to the proud. You understand? That's Isaiah chapter 47, verse 5 through 15. I mean, like I said, I've taught these scriptures before and gone through them in a breakdown. But this time that we're living in now, the Lord is really speaking to the spirit of the people who are alive at this time, who are moving and dealing in this world. Everybody understands. Let me get oh, let's get bear with me. Let's get Matthew chapter. Oh, hold up. Nah, let's get uh man. I don't want to break down this whole thing. Let's get Matthew 22. Matthew 22 and 11. All right. Matthew 22 and 11. This is a parable of the king who was getting married. And he went to set a feast and invited everybody to the feast. And people who were invited at first did not come. Right? So when the people who were invited at first didn't come, then the king sent more servants and said, man, go get whoever you can find. Whoever will hear you, get them to come to this wedding. This parable is about the calling for the kingdom of heaven, right? Kingdom of heaven is the place where Christ is the earth after Christ comes to establish his rulership, right? And before that kingdom comes, the king has sent out prophets. The Lord sent out servants of his to go and warn everybody the kingdom is coming. The kingdom is coming, man. Y'all should get ready for the kingdom. How do you get ready for the kingdom? We need to be obeying the Lord. We need to be doing what God said to do. Who were the first people that were being told this, being shown this? It's all of the proud. It's all the powers that be. It's all the people at the top. It's all your religious leaders. A lot of you just coming in contact with the ISUPK. You're just learning the truth. You're just hearing this perspective that we give on the Bible, and you're just hearing the way we break down these scriptures. But the powers that be has known this for thousands of years. Like your Christian, the Catholic Church knows the proper breakdown of these scriptures. The Catholic Church knows that when Christ comes back, he's going to kill all the wicked and put everybody in the earth in their place. Like they know what this book says and have purposefully chosen not to follow it because who cares? Like they know the book, but they don't really believe it. It ain't real to them, but they do know it. They know it enough to teach what they teach, which goes against the book, right? You got to study the Bible in order to know how to teach against what it actually says. Christianity and Catholicism are amazing case studies on manipulation, case studies on, God damn, excuse my language. What am I trying to say? The religions of Catholicism and Christianity are perfect case studies on how to manipulate people into believing something that goes against what they can see and hear for themselves. Meaning everything in Christianity goes against what the Bible is actually saying. If you read the Bible, there's no way you come up with Christianity. If you read the Bible, there's no way you come up with Catholicism. If you read the Bible, there's no way that you end up Muslim or in Islam. Those religions all exist because someone read this book and said, I know people aren't going to read it. So I'm going to teach something that the book does not say to prove that nobody actually reads. Like all these religions exist against what is actually written in the book. And for thousands of years on the earth, the powers that be in religion, in Christianity, in Islam, in Catholicism, have been teaching against the book while holding the book in their hand. Your pastor gets up in church every Sunday and preaches against God's word while opening up the Bible and saying, church, go to Psalms 5 and 20. He tells you go to Psalms 5 and 20 and reads that and then blasphemes against the word. He tells you everything that goes against the word. That's witchcraft. That's sorcery. That's enchantment. That's, brainwashing. That's casting spells. That's what they've done. But they were called first. God had provided this book and gave the opportunity to those powers that be to do what was right, to do what he said to do. They read the book, understood it, and said, yeah, we're going to tell them that, even today, if you have a Christian pastor, I don't give a damn who he is, where he's from. He went to seminary school, went to some kind of Bible college. He sat in theology class. He sat in Bible classes. He sat in Christianity, religious theory classes. And they read this book, and there's parts of this book that they have no idea what the hell it's talking about. But they told him how to teach it. We know that you're not going to get it. But when people ask you, this is what you tell them. And you know what your pastor did? Okay, went along with the program. There are scriptures in this Bible that your pastor knows he cannot teach. He cannot break down. But he'll still stand before you as a man of God and take your tithes. He'll stand before you as a man of God and teach that prosperity doctrine. He'll stand before you as a man of God and say that the Lord is with you. Go and be blessed. but he will not do what God said to do. In this parable in Matthew 22, they are the people who were first called to the wedding, but they would not come. The Lord said, I'm looking for men, I'm looking for servants. Who's going to obey me and prepare for this wedding? Your pastors, your religious leaders, the politicians, the powers that be in this society. They said, God, what? To hell with God. We're going to use that word and we're going to take advantage of these people. We're going to abuse these people. We're going to get rich off the ignorance of these people. So then the Lord said, damn, well, I gave them a shot. They didn't want to come to the wedding. No problem. Go and find whoever. And that is the time we're living in now. The ISU Buchanan Commander General Yohana since 1969 has been going out on the streets and calling for whoever will hear the word of the Lord to come serve him and prepare for the wedding, prepare for the kingdom, brothers and sisters. It is coming. It is close at hand. And the people that have come in have dedicated themselves to obeying the Lord, dedicated themselves to learning these scriptures, dedicated themselves to understanding how to read this book and how to process the words that are said and how to apply them to our lives. And we've been hunkering down and standing strong and standing tall and obeying the Lord and building up our faith and developing an understanding of the way that the Lord moves and works in the world. And it's completely different than what we ever believed when we were in religion. Completely different than what we ever could have conceptualized when we were in the world. You come in the truth and you see some things and experience some things that really you can't even describe, but you know it's God. You know the Lord is real. And you can read about it in the Bible. You could show somebody in the Bible where it says what you went through, but you can't really just explain it. Those of us who understand that, man, we ready for the wedding. We ready to celebrate, ready to party. We ready for the king to come and get married. We ready for the kingdom to be here. Right? That's where we're picking up in Matthew 22. All right? Verse 8. Verse 9. No, verse 8. Right? Matthew 22 and 8. Then saith he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Who was bidden? All your religious leaders. All of your powers that be. All of the people in the upper echelons of society. They were given a chance to serve God. They were given a chance to be an influence on the people to do what God said to do, to tell the people the truth about God and the truth about this world we're living in. And they failed. They failed to do what was required in order to be at the wedding. Verse 9, go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good. And the wedding was furnished with guests. So they went and found everybody, the bad and the good. That's me and you. That's us in the world. That's us, you just living your life. And one day you hear something about Jesus being black and the Israelites are black and, the oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. And you say, what are these niggas talking about? And you start to listen in and you starting to hear. Then it starts to change you. You start to be like, damn. You understand that there's a kingdom that's coming. There's a transformation that's going to happen in the earth. And God's people are going to be in power. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are no longer going to be on the bottom. We're going to be on the top. And you start to say to yourself, man, I want to see what that place looked like. Verse 11, Matthew 22 and 11. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. Why is there a man in that doesn't have on a wedding garment? There's a man that came to this party. He didn't prepare. He did not honor the king. He didn't honor the wedding. He didn't honor what he was invited to be a part of. So he wasn't dressed. He wasn't ready. He wasn't, he didn't appear the way he needed to appear. He wasn't dressed for the occasion. What is the metaphor here? The kingdom arrived and this person was not deserving to enter the kingdom. The kingdom came and this person was not, had not pledged allegiance to the king. They had not bowed their head and humbled themselves to obey the king, to be ready and to be fit for this new empire, this new kingdom. And so what happens if you caught at the wedding without a garment? Verse 12, and he saith unto him, friend, how camest thou in hither Not having a wedding garment. How'd you come in here, man, and you ain't dressed for the occasion? How'd you come in here and you hadn't served the king? How did you come in here and you didn't respect what was required for you to be here? Verse 13, then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen. What does that mean? Who is the person that is found without the garment that is taken up by the servants and thrown out of the wedding? It's the person that is found when the kingdom comes, not serving the king, not having prepared for the wedding, not having put on that garment and cleaned themselves up and made sure that they were presentable for the occasion. There's a time that we're living in right now where with all this chaos and turmoil and all of the threats of war and all the natural disasters and the election and all these things, God wants to see who is going to prepare to receive me, who is preparing for the wedding, who is putting on their, who is recognizing the times and saying, I will not be proud and believe that America will last forever. I will not be proud and believe that things are always going to be the way they are. I am going to get serious right now about serving God because I see he's coming. I see the Most High is moving on the earth. The time that the Bible lays out before the end is the time we're living in now. The only way that you don't see that is if you're proud. The only way you don't see that is if you don't really believe God is real. You think that, life is just, manifestations and horoscopes and playing DraftKings. God damn. Excuse my language. I'm sucked into the DraftKings. You can win a basketball bet game. And now I don't feel bad because I ain't lost none of my own money. But it's a spiritual thing to where you really be believing that this $5 is going to turn into 5,000 because Kawhi Leonard is hurt to start the season and Paul George is not playing. Surely the Clippers are going to lose to the Nuggets and the Philadelphia 76ers are going to lose to the Milwaukee Bucks. And so I'm going to bet this 200 to win me 4,000 because it's guaranteed. And then the Clippers beat the Nuggets, and the Bucks lose to the 76ers with no Embiid and no Paul George. And you're just sitting there looking at your phone, and you're just saying to yourself, you are effing stupid. Why would you just spend this 200 on that? You really thought you were going to come up? No. But you were proud. You thought you knew basketball. You thought you knew this is a locked bet. How foolish are you? You take $5 on a 6-team parlay in the NFL, and you see that the Baltimore Ravens are playing the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson just tore his Achilles. There's no way that Cleveland with Jameis Winston at quarterback is going to beat Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry for the Ravens. They running on everybody. The Ravens are beating everybody. They 5-1. They finna blow out Cleveland. So you betting Baltimore -2. It's a lock. It's a guaranteed win. And then you watch the games on Sunday and Baltimore loses. And then you're looking at your DraftKings app and your money that you was counting that 5,000. You spent that 5,000 already. That $5 that turned into 5,000, you had already bought you a winter garment for work. You already bought you some boots. You went and started planning out your Passover garment. You're gonna pay off all your Passover fees. And then it doesn't ever win, because why would it? Is that how it works? But in your pride, you thought I'm a hit DraftKings and never have to work again. You're just immature, and you're foolish, and you're prideful, and you should let it go. Now, of course, The DraftKings thing is in jest, right? I'm being funny with that. But it also is a form of pride. It's like, yeah, I know something more than anybody else. Let me bet this money. You don't know nothing, brother. You're not gonna win it. And if you do win it, yeah, throw me some bread. But it ain't gonna happen because it just doesn't happen. But there are people who are playing DraftKings with their soul and their spirit because they're trusting in America. They're trusting in Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. They're trusting in this Western society. They're trusting that nuclear bombs would never fall on America. They're trusting that my son or daughter would never get drafted to go fight in the military. They're trusting that surely slavery and racism, people getting hung from trees, couldn't come back in 2024, right? Yeah, you should wake up. You should wake up and realize that this world that you're living in is the world that God warned us about in the Bible. And that world that God warned us about, it's going to be destroyed. It has to fall. It has to be a violent fall. It has to be a painful fall. People are going to starve to death. There's going to be illnesses and sicknesses that can't be cured. There's going to be evil people in high places trying to do unimaginably evil things. And only protection you're going to have is being dressed for the wedding. Only protection you got is to be ready for the king, is to be serving the king. And that is the time that we are living in now. The Lord has called us, man, to be the people he called us to be. Obey him. Humble yourself. Fight all of your weaknesses. Fight all of your addictions. Fight all the things that are telling you to do what goes against God, and learn how to be who the Lord called you to be. In the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, that is what we specialize in. That is what we teach. That is what we were established for. And that is what we do lovingly and caringly for our people every day, all day. And with that, clap it up. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. Since 1969, we have been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? Truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2024, there is nothing more important than for God's chosen people to learn the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is on the earth. For everybody that's tuning in this Saturday, November 2nd, here in Memphis at the school, 3000 Walnut Grove Road. 3000 Walnut Grove Road. We are having a winter clothing drive. Winter clothing drive here in Memphis, Tennessee. For all you brothers and sisters, you got family, loved ones, people you care about, get them in contact with us here at the ISUPK. We're going to have a ton of clothes, jackets, hats, boots, shoes, pants, jeans to give away. Send your folks up here to get what they need. We're going to have food out there. We're going to have drinks. We're going to feed the community. Really show the people that there's a place here in Memphis, Tennessee where you can come and get the love and the respect and the leadership and the guidance that you all need. Lord, allow the Most High to be with us, and it'll be a wonderful success. If you got family, loved ones, again, people you care about, get them in contact with us here. And with that, shalom, Israel.